besides
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweights. Come get with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgaro Grande. My partner in slime over here, Mr. Jamie Dunn, Carolina Lightweights.
What's up? What's up with it, everybody?
What's up, buddy?
Man, I tell you what, I'm all smiles. I'm ready for tonight, man.
I'm not too ready, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Hell, we never are too ready, man. We just go with it. Oh man, how was your week, brother?
Man, another great weekend of fishing.
I tell you what, I've seen posts and pictures and videos. You got me all jealous, man.
Got to fish with a couple of my good buddies, Trent Hall and our teammate, Vess Cooks. A couple of my guide buddies. Man, you can't really have a better time than we had on the water. And the fishing was good to boot.
I tell you, you're right, man. I don't think it could get no better for you, man. I saw Jackson out there. I was like,
Jackson got him a giant.
That's
we
awesome.
got a PB. I got one right around 7 feet.
Man.
It was crazy.
I seen Vess had one in his arms and had one on the ground. His feet was dangling close to the one on the ground.
Oh, man. We had a great time. I see Trent's in here. Welcome in, Trent. We'll run through real quick. See who's all in here. Tom Outdoors. Let's freaking go.
That's it.
We're going, baby. Richard Green says, hello all, you slime lovers. Welcome, Richard. Real and Virtual Outdoors. Welcome. Says, hello, everyone.
What's up? What's up?
The Realist Fishing says, hey, slime family. I see fishing has been great for us. Just want to say thank you for some tips from last episode. Managed to take first place and land biggest fish of the tournament this past weekend. That's freaking awesome. Way to go.
Brother. Yeah.
Congrats.
Nice.
Trent Hall says, what's up, folks? Welcome in, Trent. Uh-oh, I jumped the line. Leland Loy says, Garzillas. Welcome in, Lee. Yeah, I'm hooked on them long green giants. Corey Whaley says, what's good, y'all? Welcome in, Corey. Dustin Clark says, WH. What's up? Micah Burkhart says, what's up, y'all? Welcome in, Micah.
Welcome in, brother.
We're on episode 91. Who would have thought we could have gone this far?
Now, I tell you what, it seems like yesterday, man, we just got this thing a-rolling. And when you said 91, that just sent goosebumps up my arms, man. Wow.
We got 100th episode coming up pretty quick. We're going to have to do something special for it.
I tell you what, we are, man, because that's a big milestone, brother. I mean, you know, it takes a lot of dedication and stuff like that. And you know what? It's been well worth it, and I can't wait for 100 more.
Yeah. We ought to try to get some of our past guests back on just for kicks.
That would be a lot of fun.
Give
Have
away
like a
some
big,
stuff, give
yeah,
away some stuff to our people.
yep.
I'm gonna start working on that. I got 9. We got 8. We'll have 8 episodes to go. So basically 2 months. I'll work on getting some stuff acquired for the giveaway, and I'll ask my sponsors if I can get some stuff to give away for the show, and I'm gonna chip in too. So
And yeah, I saw Micah said, man, he'll hop on that one. That'd be like a
awesome.
big family
We'll get Mike
reunion.
on here. Kevin Walter says, "Hey fellas, let's get Kevin back on here. He's a great guest."
Yes, sir.
And I'm just gonna go down the list. I'll file back through the episodes and see. I want it to be fun. You know what I mean?
That would be a blast to bring back some of the family from the past, bring them back up, and spend some time with each and every one of them, do some giveaways. Hell, just have a big party.
Richard Green, I can't read. Man, my eyesight's just crashing, man. Turned 50. I'm about to be 51. It's just.
I
was
saw Richard says,
weekend. Trent's like, man, I can tell you hit 50. He's like, look at that eye up there at the top of your rod. I missed an eye.
Hey, if I don't wear these, man, I can't put a hook on to save my life. Richard said, what's now worth seeing all these catfish videos from all over the place? Catfishing has gone crazy in the last 5 years. Brother, it has exploded.
It has.
It really has.
It's gone nuts.
Hey, Chris, shout out Michael Burkhardt already says, man, I'll donate a rod for the 100th show.
Awesome, Mike. Appreciate you, bro. We've had Mike on a couple times. Those were awesome shows.
Yes.
Appreciate
Thank you, brother.
Doing that, man.
That's awesome, man.
We'll figure out. I want to start working slowly, but I'll work on that 100th episode so it's something we can do cool for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Tom says he'll be 43 next week. LOL. Damn, I'd love to be 43 again.
I tell you what, I want to give Tom some shout out. He's got some brand new swag coming his way. Homeboy is going to look sharp, man.
He's been lighting them up, man.
Yeah, he has.
Our big fish are off the spawning beds. He's been killing it.
Yeah, I've been watching him some, and I tell you, he's been doing it to it, man.
I'm gonna get him ramped up on Dragon, so he's about to freaking. I'm gonna have him lighting the world on fire this winter.
Matter of fact, we were talking about that yesterday about doing some dragging and stuff.
Kevin says catfishing is a way of life for him. Always introducing new folks to our world. That's the best way to be. Try to help guys. The best way to help is to not expect anything in return. That is the best help that you could give someone.
Yes, that's
not
it.
Expecting you're going to get anything back. That's a business transaction. Real help is not expecting to get anything in return, just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. So go help somebody. I see all the drama. Well, there's constantly drama in catfish, but all the negative, bickering, whining, man, I just want to say, man, when I see that, it makes me just want to go do the opposite, try to do something nice for somebody.
You know what I love, Chris? I'm starting to see a lot more people are taking that energy and actually is starting to switch and put it more towards the catfishing now. And I love seeing that. I'm seeing a little bit less of the drama stuff and a lot more of the people are taking their energy. And it's awesome from some of the stuff I've seen on this side. It's starting to turn around, I hope, man.
There's so many new guys in it. The problem, I see the biggest hurdle that we're facing is with so many anglers, there's still so many that kill our best fish. If we could somehow, I don't know how we educate these guys, but if we could get to, because it's not, it's not this segment that we all deal with that's doing it. Majority of this, there's about 5,000 to 10,000 people that are in this catfishing hardcore, community. But once you get outside of that, that's where it dramatically changes, where they're not into CPR so much. And I just feel like if somehow we could get outside of this 8 to 10,000 guys that are pretty, they're really pretty big fish conservation minded, somehow appeal to the average guy that's out there keeping them. Because for the 10,000 of us, there's probably over 1 million of them.
Chris,
10,000 that are pro big fish and saving them. Out of the 1 million, they're actually killing quite a few. Guys like, they don't fish much, but when they catch one, they keep it.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest reasons that we actually to help, people, with different tips and different tricks and different things like that. Education was a big part of why we done this slime show. And, I said, man, and I always laughed. I said, I wish we could take this thing national. Like national news, once a week or once a month, have a national catfishing show to help the ones like you're talking about that's not inside, that 10,000 or 8,000, the ones that's actually out there to educate them even more.
I know we don't have a Jimmy Houston of our segment that we had in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s with Jimmy Houston, Bill Dance, Hank Parker. They all talked about conservation, how important it was for the future. We don't have that with catfishing.
And I wish we did, man. And hey, I'll tell everybody.
Word says commercial fishing, but we don't have commercial fishing in Texas. We do have the most licensed anglers in the country of any state, even bigger than Florida and California. But our lakes are pressured by fish killers, big fish killers. They come in and just wipe out our lakes. Our lakes are closed ecosystems. So there's not fish coming in and out of them. You can wipe those things out. Doesn't take very many guys doing it. Doesn't take very many guys. Certain time of the year, I tell guys, hell, if I kept all my fish, I could single-handedly destroy some of these fisheries. So imagine what 2 or 3 guys that come in and just keep them all. It doesn't take long. So I don't know how we're going to appeal to them, but hopefully we can get somebody who's charismatic, who's going to appeal to the masses. And
I just hope all of our people that's in this chat, guys, just keep doing what y'all doing, telling people the education part of it, catfishing, and just keep pounding it in everybody's head, man, because I know I can't do it by myself. Chris, you can't do it by yourself, but if we all work together.
I've pretty much given up trying to do it with adults. I do it with the guys that are on my boat. Most guys already get it. Really, my impact is on the kids, and they all get it. I've never had one question why we're doing it. I tell them, they understand it, and they're on board with it, and I feel like they'll be on board with it moving forward. So
that's it, man. That's it. And
we got other guys back in here. So competitive angler, Rob Shoemake. What's up, Rob? Ed Jenkins says, Chris and Jamie, welcome. Moving down, Wesley Grubbs the third. John Bubba New says, good afternoon. Welcome in.
What's up, buddy?
Tienda says, what's up, slime family? And Kevin says, when I was a little boy, I would watch fishing on TV every Saturday morning. No cartoons for me, all fishing. And that was me, Kevin.
Yep. I remember them shows like it was yesterday, man.
Yep. Jimmy kissing fish and laughing and trying to appeal to kids, which I believe. So catfishing doesn't really appeal to youth anglers. The industry doesn't target them really. There is no real concerted effort to try to go after youth anglers to get them involved, like bass fishing. They have giant youth angler programs. They go after kids. They've got school fishing programs for bass.
Yep.
And I know it took 30 years for that to all take a hold, but we're still stuck in the deal of catfish are eating fish. And little ones are good to eat, but.
Yeah. If we can just keep pushing, man, sooner or later, it's got to turn around and, take a different path. I mean, it really does, because it's becoming popular, if not more popular than bass fishing anymore. I mean,
very popular. It's not more popular than bass fishing in Texas. My goodness.
Well,
crazy about bass here.
But
it's a lot more popular. The more money's involved, the more specialized the equipment gets. We now have catfish-specific boats and a lot of catfish-specific equipment. I think the more money that gets poured into it, the better it's going to go. Guys should carry themselves in a professional manner. I feel like that's one thing that's really lacking in catfishing. It's professionalism. It's really not. It's not professional for the most part. But hey, maybe it's going to change. I know it changes slowly. So Wesley says he's 42 now. Damn, y'all making me start to feel old.
I ain't lying.
I'm 51 in about a week. So.
Oh, man.
But I'm feeling good, man. I'm living my best life. It's a money thing in the bass world. Money makes the world go round. Doesn't matter what industry it is. That's what drives the industry. It's money. People gonna make money. Want to make money. That's why Sea Art got in business making catfish boats. That's why Jamie got in business making drift weights. Obviously, there's a passion there for fishing. That's how he became a catfisherman. But
that's it, man. Doing it from day one when my father took me out before I could ever walk, had me out on a boat, man, teaching me everything. And to this day, I know he's not here no more. I've taken all that and passed it to my kids, and they're passing it to their kids. So, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we had a catfish pro shop, like Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
Big money. And also corporate sponsorship. And I'm not talking just small mom and pop catfish sponsorships. It's Ford, Chevy and Mobil Oil and stuff like that.
Yeah, I see here we don't have a national pro tour. And that's true. I mean, I believe that would really help if we could get something like that going also, just like how Bass has the big tours they got. Now they've got 4 or 5 different tours that they've got going on.
I was talking to this couple of bass pro guy or professional bass anglers about it, and they said, well, what's really working against you, Chris, is appealing to the kids. And it's hard to appeal to kids when y'all are out there in the middle of the winter. Kids don't want to fish in the middle of the winter, and that's when the best fishing occurs. I mean, that did make some sense. I mean, I get that. My kid's out there, but I started him out young. And I mean, there's little kids out snow skiing. Why can't they catch catfish in the cold?
That's where, it's great, if we can get more parents to, take that role. And, we preach it all the time on the show that we need more of the parents to step up and take these kids out. And I can tell you, we got our, just like our youth anglers, we got one heck of a lineup. And, these kids are constantly just beating the bushes, man, and catching nice fish. I mean, it's amazing what you see out of them.
I love seeing these kids. I thought it would, we did it to try to inspire more dads to take their kids fishing. And I do see that it does. It doesn't quite have the impact I was hoping for.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing it because, it's worth it if it does get a couple of dads fishing. But I wish it was a little bit more impactful. But it is what it is. We're going to keep trying to chisel away and get more dads out there excited about taking their little kids fishing. It's not easy. Matter of fact, it's a big pain in the ass. I'll be honest. It's a freaking meeting taking a little kid fishing.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
9 years. My son's 9 now, and he won't miss a trip. And he's still not the easiest person in the world to fish with. But we are making memories that are priceless.
That's it. That's like I told Rebecca the other day. I can't wait to get my granddaughter out there. She says, you already talking about putting her on the boat, and she's not even 3 months. Well, she's getting ready to turn 3 months old. I'm like, you can't start them early enough.
My wife said, you're not taking him on the boat till he can walk.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to sneak
I wasn't
her out.
going to argue with her, but as soon as he could walk, boy, he was out there every trip. Now, the trips sometimes were only an hour long because you got to cater to them.
Yeah.
If you try to go force feed 8-hour fishing trip on a little dude, you're going to run him off. So we did short trips. Sometimes we barely even fished. We'd feed the ducks, and we just go watch the birds picking shad off the shoreline and stuff like that. And, over time he ended up really loving it. Now he'll never miss a trip. Now he doesn't want to catch every fish. Some days he wants to catch every fish. Some days he just catches one, and that's fine. I don't try to, make
Let him do it.
I do give him an opportunity. If we got a big one, I'm big fish on, and you got to make it fun for them. So Corey Whaley says the bush hookers are horrible down my way. Well, man, I fished the Trinity last 4 weeks, and the bush hookers, they got every bush hanging over that river freaking marked, dude. It's ridiculous. Oh, man. Rob Shoemake says they scheduled CatCon at the worst time in January.
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking about the worst time, I don't think the temperature really matters. I think really it's close to Christmas, which is going to have a lot of people recovering financially. It's going to probably take away from sales.
I think a lot of that, from when I had a talk this week, was a lot of that was scheduling on the not Steve's part, but the facility he uses. They had some scheduling conflicts, and that's the reason why he had to schedule it when he did. So, but I think, saying in the future everything should go back to normal after this year.
Well, January is really temperature-wise for here. Yeah. February is typically colder than January, so I don't know if it matters. Guys are like, it's going to be a lot worse chance of weather. I'm like, really? Because February is usually pretty bad weather.
Yeah,
not really much difference weather-wise to me, but what do I know?
Tom said, with video games and YouTube took my boy's attention from going with me, he can rarely get him to go anymore. And that's true. That's true that
my son does all that crap too. I get it, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep him off of it. I have to it's pretty much a constant battle with him. And we have to seriously limit him on that stuff. For me, it's a lot harder to get him interested when I have other people on the boat, because I'm having conversations with the other people, and he's kind of a shy kid. Now, he's a wild dude. Once he warms up, he's very wild, but he's shy when there's new guys on the boat. So he's kind of clams up and just goes off into his little shell. But it's an ongoing deal, and I'm gonna keep at it because it's worth it. Competitive Angler says it's very hard to find catfish specific shops in any franchise shops.
That is true. That is very much true. A
Yeah,
lot of
I know there's Shields. You can pretty much get anything you want in Shields, and you can probably get five different brands of anything you want in Shields. So I don't know if y'all got Shields, but damn, that's like, I mean, you go in there and get lost, and you go in there trying to spend $50 and come out spending 500. It's like, damn.
That's why I give props for all these mom and pop tackle shops. They're really growing their the catfishing side of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the ones I go in anymore, Chris, is jam full with catfishing stuff. But like you said,
don't have
man,
much of that around here.
Yeah.
We don't even really have very many mom and pop shops. Now, some of our lakes, if you go to that lake, there's one or two on those lakes, but as far as just around, we don't have them.
That's it.
Tom says Lucas Oil. I want a sponsor for my boat for Shell or Mobil or Exxon. Can I get a fuel sponsor, please?
That's it.
And somebody said, well, I said, what about at 7-Eleven? They're like, well, what is that going to do? I said, man, I got a Lamborghini payment every month in snacks for my son. Shit, that's probably one of my biggest bills is this damn snack bill this kid's got. He's a snacking machine, dude. Flathead Doty says, what's up, brothers? Welcome in,
up,
Doty.
What's up, buddy?
Realist Fishing says people ice fish too.
Oh, yeah.
Not in Texas.
Oh, man.
So Competitive Angler says the problem is there is not a business market selling hundreds of items of tackle to every boat. Catfish gear is fairly simple in so variations. Well, my catfish gear is very specialized. It's definitely not cheap, but I get where you're coming from. If I had to buy all my gear, I'd be spending a fortune every year. I mean, I get it.
And Chris, I mean, just
expensive.
Just like, a lot of the catfishing pre-tied rigs and stuff that's out there, a lot of people put their own little touches on them. There's so much different ways you can go with it now. It's wild at how much different stuff that's out there now. It really is. Just like we tried to be very creative to put out stuff that really, it works. That's not there just to be flashy, but it actually works. That's one thing we pride ourselves on here at Carolina Lake Weights is putting out the best product we can. But man, I tell you,
for the longest time, if you wanted something, you had to go over here to get this thing, and then if you needed something else, you had to go over here to get. I mean, man, for the last 20 years, I had to get my hooks over here, my weights here. Everything came from a different place.
Yeah,
and it's starting to get where now you can start to get all that stuff in one spot, and I think that also helps.
Oh yeah,
there's got to be enough. The company has to be able to make enough profit to stay in business.
And I'll tell you, Chris, speaking on that part of it, man, the companies out here that all of us, we put out what we can, the best that we can. And things that are real, it's not cheap anymore. Things are not cheap anymore. And, I give props to everybody that's still out there that's grinding it out, man. It's a tough one out there.
Last night, I took my son to McDonald's after Vacation Bible School, and he got like a 10-piece chicken nugget, French fries, and I don't know what they call it, a flurry or something. It was like $14
for
a kid to eat.
That's
14
it.
bucks at McDonald's. Like,
What happened to the dollar burgers, man?
ain't no more dollar burgers. If
I
they
ain't
are,
seen it.
you probably don't want to eat that thing.
You might get one bun and just the meat, and that's it. The other bun they're gonna leave off, and all the fixings they're leaving off.
Chris Horde says Gato in Carolina. Welcome in, bro. Wesley Grubb says his father still takes him fishing, and he only catches catfish.
Nice.
My dad is 90, and he is retired from going fishing. He gets vertigo and all kinds of crap. He can't fish anymore. We hadn't fished in 10 years. All right, I'm moving on down. Rob says he likes to sleep. Well, Rob, he had been up for 2 nights in a row, and part of the problem was the damn video game. I caught him in there in the middle of the night playing that damn video game. He snuck in there to freaking get that video game fixed, man. They play some game called Fortnite. Him and about 10 of his buddies, dude. They're in there yelling at each other. It's like going nuts.
Yeah.
Chris Horde says he brings his 6-year-old grandbaby. Those are good times, man.
That's it. And especially, man, that's memories that they'll never fade off, man. Especially if you're doing videos and stuff like that. You can always go back and watch them,
Yeah, at that age, my son liked catching small fish more than he likes catching big fish. Now, he won't even catch a small fish. My buddy's like, damn, that kid's freaking spoiled. I'm like, well, I guess. He's like, he'll get a couple cranks on. He's like, it's not very big. He'll hand the rod off.
That's it.
Man.
Fishing World 123, man, I highly recommend dragging the upper lake. There is a lot of good fishing up there, close to them stump fields and stuff. I highly recommend it, man. I know there's a lot of people that anchor fishes up on that end of Moultrie or Marion. Sorry about that, but it does pay off, man. It really does. Anywhere from 95 back is real good fishing, man. So definitely try it if you haven't tried it up there on Marion.
I will say this about fishing with kids. If they do much better when there's a lot of action.
Yeah.
And catfishing, a lot of time there's a lot of slow points throughout the day. It's hard to keep a kid interested.
Yeah.
So, I would say when he was younger, I would take him eater fishing just to try to, keep him engaged. And he loved that. So, you might, even if you're a trophy catfish, sometimes you just got to step outside your comfort zone and go get eaters for the better good of the kid. And I did that. Your fishing struggles, but in the long run, it pays off. So
That's it. I like 95 and back south. I don't do a lot of 95 and north, but I do a lot 95 and south, my friend. And it pays off pretty good, especially right there close to 95 area.
Tom says some days he sleeps till 1. Yeah, he slept late. He's been known to sleep half the freaking day when he stays up. That's kids. Chris Horde says he's had his in waders since 2.
That's it. Man.
Wesley Grubb says he's taken all 3 of his granddaughters and his son. That's a good time. It's not easy, but it's tough the day on that day, but when you look back on it, you don't remember all the tough part. You just remember the good stuff, and that's really why you do it. It's for the memories. I tell
yeah,
man,
100%.
you do all that. It seems like a beating. I said, yeah, but the memories made are priceless. It's the memories are the currency you earn. You know, guys like, do you miss a lot of big fish? I'm like, man, we missed half our big fish for years, just because I wanted him to be able to battle them and catch them, and they get tangled up in the motor, or up in the he'd lose them in the drift sock, or
Hell, every now and then I'll lose one in the drift sock still. Oh, man. Cross-eyed Catfishing said, Jamie keeps improving the dragging weight so we don't have to buy as much tackle. Well, we did shoot ourselves in the foot when we developed what we developed, but
I told Jamie that about the third week after I started using them. I said, man, because I was using, I can say it now because they're defunct. They were Bone Town. And there's other companies that make them just like Bone Town, but I was with Bone Town. And my buddy Jeremy's like, man, I know you're with Bone Town. Try some of Jamie's. So I tried some of Jamie's. Me and Jamie were friends from YouTube, and I tried some of Jamie's, and about 3 weeks later, I said, Jamie, I gotta say, I love these drift weights, but man, you're gonna go out of business, because I hadn't lost any, and I was losing 3 or 4 of those Bone Towns every trip. Yeah. Probably averaging about 3 per trip, and I didn't lose any Carolina lake weights.
Though, it's hard to not put your best into something right off the bat, and still to this day. So we'll take a little bit of the hit on the backside as long as we're putting out terrific product.
I give them away. I lost a whole box of them. Somebody stole.
They couldn't wait to get their hands on them, Chris.
Somebody said, man, even the meth heads like them things. I opened that box and like, what the hell are these things?
Oh, man. That's awesome. Seems like the spawn wasn't too bad this year, or am I tripping? Well, Chris, I'm going to say I've heard some mixed emotions about the spawn this year, man. I've heard people
early here. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Here it's over. Normally it goes till July 4th.
And during the spawn, I was able to see this year, I seen some big fish being caught during the spawn in different places. And I don't know.
I think a lot of them went super early and were done. Early. It was a very strange year. And I think, they went early. After that last polar front, it got to 80-something degrees here. Like immediately, it's like a giant warm-up. Water just skyrocketed temperature. And, it got in their comfort zone a lot earlier. And they went and spawned early, very early.
Hey, I like to say congratulations to I seen a couple of big fish being caught this past weekend. And I saw that John Bubba New caught a nice one, man. Congratulations to him on that big fish that he caught. Just what?
He got a 94 not too far back.
Yep.
I
think if I'm not badly mistaken, during the Flathead tournament this past weekend, I think there was a 101 pounder or something that was weighed.
That's insane.
That was a blue that they weighed in.
Fishing World 123's got a question about what the topic of the show is tonight. We hadn't even started yet.
Man, we just getting warmed up.
He says, hey, man, I fish the Upper Marion a lot. A lot of it is shallow stump field flats with trees. Most people anchor it. Is it worth drift fishing through the stump fields or too many snags? And it really depends. I don't know what you're calling stumps. If it's really stumps, yes, you can drag it. If it's standing timber, you can drag it, but it needs to be a pretty old field of standing timber where there's not a whole lot of branched off stuff.
And that's one of the subjects that, Chris, I think we're going to hit on tonight, correct? About the proper way to be able to do that. So I know the exact spot that I was talking, that's the one I was talking about, the 95 back south, that I've drug a lot, and it's worth dragging, from the bridge back down south.
So here's the technique I use when I'm dragging a shallow stump field. Okay. Traditionally, you long line, like let's say you're running planer boards. Traditionally, you long line behind your boards so that you have a smooth presentation. If you long line in a stump field, you're going to be hung up and losing your crap constantly. I mean, constantly. So what you do is, let's say you're running a planer board. When you planer board, you're going to measure the depth you're in. If you're in 6 feet of water, you're going to basically bottom bounce your rig from your planer board. It's almost going to be vertical rigging. It's just going to be bouncing the bottom or just barely dragging, almost vertical. Your line from your planer board is going to be almost vertical. And that will dramatically help you cut down on snags. You're also going to shorten the length of the leader and the length of the hook from your float. So if you're running a float, put the hook next to the float. If you're running a demon dragon, put the demon dragon right next to your hook. And that'll help you get through a lot of stuff. So vertical from your planer board and shorten the distance from your hook to your float and your demon dragon style rattle. That will cut down dramatically on losing your crap in a stump field.
Yeah. Just different simple things like that that we use myself. I know myself, and I know you do, Chris, that, takes our rating far as catching fish in them style of areas, takes it up big time, dramatically. And a lot of people don't know that, man. And that's one of the importance of tonight's show that we were going to talk about, is the proper way and be able to teach everybody that doesn't know that, to catch more fish that way. And it works. It really does work.
I can guarantee you it works.
Yeah. And
just like I started doing it, guys said, you can't drag that. So many guys told me I couldn't drag that. And so I just kept playing with it. And one thing is you pretty much do need a drift weight that will get through it. And that Carolina Lake weight is what gave me the confidence to go up there and try it. And it works. You try it. Try doing it that way, and it'll work. Guarantee you. Nothing's 100% snag proof. You get close to some things, and your hook's going to get in there. And guys don't realize a lot of times it's your hook. But here's the thing that's snagging your hook on stumps a lot of the times. If you're long lining and you're dragging it through, a lot of times when your dragging weight gets hung on that stump, it'll come through it. But if you're long lining, it'll build a lot of tension as it's trying to come through. And when it finally comes through, it'll slingshot that hook onto that piece of cover, that stump or whatever, and now your hook's hung. Whereas when you're going like this, you're not building all that tension up, so it's popping. It may pop and come over, and the hook makes it through, and you'll lose 95% less rigs doing it that way. So
yeah, and I tell you guys, that reaction bite is unbelievable in some of that timber. When that thing's hitting them stumps, I mean, it's just doing that dance. And that reaction bite is unbelievable in a lot of that timber.
Caught a lot of big fish coming right over a log.
Yeah.
Like a log that's fallen over and laid down in the lake.
Yeah.
As it comes over that, it's like, oh, it's hung. Nope, it swam through it, and then bam, they're waiting on the backside of that log.
That's it. I mean, we drug over some trees a while back on the Cooper River down there. I mean, we had 10. No, I'll take it back. It was 8 lines coming through a big, huge tree, and they were popping. And as soon as it come off the backside, we had a double. I'm talking about as soon as it dropped, we had myself and Rebecca hooked into them, and it just hit that quick.
Rob Shoemake says he's in the process of bringing catfishing products to Olson's Bait and Tackle in Lake Worth. I know a guy who sells it. You might want to get a hold of him. His name's Jamie Dunn.
That's it.
Set him up. Chevron sponsors some crappie guys. There you go. Need to get that Chevron sticker on the side of the War Machine. How about a Chevrolet? Can I get a Chevy sponsorship for Jackson? Wesley says he's got an upholstery sponsor in Tennessee.
That's awesome, man.
Can CDEC sponsor the War Machine? Like to get a new CDEC every 2 years.
Oh man, I want to do that in my Pro Cat, man.
All right, I got way behind as always. Justin Bledsoe, a little bit late. We'll be touching on and off and catching up on what I missed tomorrow. Kids are in the pool out back wearing him out. Wesley says his first fish was an 85-pound flathead.
Awesome, man.
That's
awesome.
That his uncle, who was a commercial fisherman and was a Texas trophy in the Deweyville, Texas.
Average Joe Catfishing. What happened to the new rigs y'all were going to release?
What happened to those, Jamie? I didn't get to test them enough.
Gar season come up quick on this.
Man, we had an early spawn too. My trophy season was cut about a month short, and we had just started. I just got to test them one trip, really.
I can tell you, Chris, I have been testing you. I've showed you some pictures privately between us on anchor fishing and doing some other stuff, and man, they really been working. But
I quit catfishing. I've been gar fishing.
That's it. But we're going to be we're going to be going to release those. We're just wanting to make sure that we've got all the bugs, all the stuff right before we go and release something. We don't just release it to release it. We really put the time and effort into making sure it's 100%. And it's coming. Y'all just wait. It's coming.
I got some video catching the fish on it.
Yeah, I've got some pictures and stuff, but I've been holding off until we both.
I thought it would work. I wasn't sure if it was going to work.
It's working. Yeah, it's working.
Different than the norm.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can tell you this, guys. Catfish are not just bottom dwellers. They are not just bottom dwellers.
And what I love about it, Chris, it works in every style you put it in, man. Because I tell you, I have been putting it through the ringer, and it has worked for every style that I do. And that time it worked for you on that trip that you went on for sure.
Fishing with Hunter says, good stuff. Learning about the planer boards, going to try at the Calaveras Lake in San Antonio.
Heck yeah.
My buddy Matthew Gomez fishes down there. You ought to contact Operation Vets with Nets and get on with Matthew, Mario. Get you some real therapy. He can teach you some stuff about planer boards.
Got a question, Chris. How do y'all feel about dragging live brim? Only ever dragged cut bait before. Will live brim tangle the line, or does it work well depending on how you hook the brim?
No, they'll work well, and what it's not the brim aren't going to be going eight crap when you're going to be swimming them, and you're just dragging them, and then it's not like they're going crazy and tangling it. Now you will get a few extra tangles, but no, I used to drag them a lot live. I lost my connection to get them. Used to catch tons of big fish on bluegill. They work great. I used them both ways. I don't really know which way works better, because when you're dragging, you're actually presenting a dead bait like it's alive. That's the beauty of dragging. It's a presentation of an injured and dying fish. Every time that the boat's not just pulling like this, there's waves, and that thing's it's pulling your bait like it's an injured fish. So that's part of the reason why dragging works so dang good.
I do a lot down on Santee Cooper. I use a lot of the perch live. A lot of people like cutting them up. I use them alive a lot down there on Santee Cooper. So definitely try it, man. Do y'all use alpha boards?
I use Parks.
Yep. I'm Parks planer boards myself.
Put my Parks up against anybody. I like Kevin for one, but not only that, boards are awesome. Average Joe Catfishing says, is it the buzzbait style I sent you? I won a tournament last weekend on them. I don't know who you sent it to, because I never got any buzzbait styles, but Jamie, did you receive a buzzbait style?
No, I haven't received anything.
Not sure. But yes, it's similar. It's definitely similar.
Yeah.
Rattling, buzz. Doesn't make a whole lot, but there's definitely something going on there as you're dragging. You can see it in the water. So. Looks like a shad sipping. I'm sure Jamie will release it soon. It'll be fall for no time, and I'll be using them. I'll be able to use them again.
Yeah, it won't be long. I can promise you, we definitely will be releasing them soon.
Walt says he usually runs 2 outside planers with live bluegill. My outside planers are my longest. I put about a 10-inch bait on those things in the winter. Summer, I'm using little chunks. Well, not this summer. This summer, I'm cannonballing these alligator gar with.
Alex says, me and my son been tearing up largemouth bass on CLW rigs. Well, brother, I've seen some of the pictures.
A lot of guys say that.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures, man. Congratulations, first of all, to y'all. But see, we save you money. When we build a catfish rig, we also build you a bass rig, everything all in one. So we're saving you money.
I used to catch a lot of trophy bass on them. I was using bluegill. So when I drug bluegill, and generally when I would catch a trophy bass, it would be summertime, anywhere from April to about almost to around July, and it would be on a main lake hump. We used to catch a lot of trophy bass dragging those humps.
I know on Santee Cooper
a lot, but we would catch a few 10+ pounders every year dragging. My buddies that
know.
are bass fishermen were like, "Where'd you catch that thing?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Out in the middle of the freaking lake, dude.
deep.
Dragging for catfish."
Down in Santee Cooper, man, it wasn't nothing, Chris, to catch two nice bass almost every other trip or every trip we go on down there. I'm talking about some nice looking bass, and I always say, they make good bait, but still.
Wesley Grubb says the Neches River potential location for trophy catfish. There's giant flatheads everywhere in Texas. I can tell you that. We have massive flatheads. Lots of giant flatheads caught here. Lake Palestine's one of the places. It's got monster flatheads. Most of our lakes that have timber are going to have a lot of flatheads over 50 to 100. And, really, there's lakes with bigger. The majority of our timber lakes probably have 115-pound class flatheads. You just can't catch them. Guys like, what do you mean you can't catch them? I said, well, they just operate different. They don't come out to feed. They stay in one spot to feed. And if you catch them, how do you get them out of their spot? And if they do get out of their spot, they can rip a hook right out. Even if it's hooked perfectly, they can still rip that thing out. Just a different power. So occasionally they do catch. I think Levon had a 113-pounder caught on a trot line. A lot of these lakes have giant flatheads caught just by sheer luck. But as far as anglers targeting them, they can target them up to about 80 pounds. After that, it's a sheer luck thing. Michael Cox says, good evening. Tom says he's got alphas and we'll be switching to parks. Tom, you ain't the only one, Bubba. I'm sure the guy that sold them to you, I know him. You know why he switched. So
How has those Everett reels handled the big gar, Chris? Just picked up 2 Everett reels, wanted to gar fish with them.
They handle them just fine. I will say this, out of all my reels, my Gen 1 Dakota 500s are superior. They don't make them anymore, but they are superior to all the other reels that I've been using. And I've run, let's see, what all have I run? I ran Penn Squall 2s. I've run my Shimano Dakota A's, my Shimano Dakota Gen 2s. I've run a Penn Fierce 4 spinning reel. I smoked some Abu 7000s. Those are not made for gar. I would say, I don't know. I'm still looking for the perfect one. I don't like spinning reels. They're just uncomfortable. That 6,000 size spinning reel is not comfortable to reel in a big gar. You can't set the hook right because you got this big giant crank, and you can't. There's no cranking. There is virtually no cranking power. It's all just. It's like, there's no cranking power.
Well, speaking of that, Chris,
in your baits is a pain in the ass with those spinning reels. I'm still looking. You need an ocean reel with enough line. I prefer a level wind than that Abbott that I got. The Abbott's fine, but it's not ideal. And especially for the price. Damn, son. My buddy's like, man, you spend a lot on fishing gear. I'm like, yeah, I do. If I think that I need it, I go get it. and then I find out it ain't worth a flip. I got this reel. I'm just going to give it to my buddy. Let me show you it. This is the most expensive catfishing reel that I've bought. It's a low profile pin fathom. It's a high dollar reel. Man, this thing ain't worth a damn. It's built right. Just not, man, it ain't a Shimano Dakota.
Chris, I tell you, a company,
but man,
a company just coming out with reels or thinking about upgrading, man, they need to send you some reels to put through the ringer, man. Because I tell you, you sure put them through the ringer up there.
I'll beat the hell out of them. I'll tell you if it's worth a crap too. There's a lot that goes into it that guys don't realize, you know, what you really need. Now everybody's different, so everybody's needs are different. But I need something that's not going to break with very tough abuse. I also need a lot of cranking power. I also need I need that thing to reel in a lot of line per crank, so high gear ratio. I need a good line capacity. There's really, and I need it to cast good. There is no perfect reel. I'm sorry, not anyone that I've seen. There is not a perfect catfishing reel out there, because I would say my Shimano Dakota 600As are very close, but they don't cast worth a crap. They do everything else phenomenal.
It's hard to find a reel that does 100% of everything that you need to do.
All my other reels, hands down. It ain't even freaking close, but they don't cast great. I can get past that when I'm dragging. I don't need to send my stuff long.
Yeah.
But to be a one size fits all reel for everything that I do, it's not perfect. And I've got reels that cast better, but they don't have the line capacity, or they don't have the cranking power for planer boards. And, you know, they don't zip up enough line fast enough whenever, like, you get a takedown. And, you know, when you pop the clip on a planer board, there's a lot of line that you got to zip up really fast. Yeah. It doesn't matter so much for smaller fish, but for bigger fish, you got to really crank. And then you got to have enough cranking power to bury a big hook into a giant fish. You'll end up losing your best fish if you don't have all the right characteristics. So
that's it. And guys, real quick, if y'all have any questions on tonight's subject, man, feel free to ask. We're watching chat. If you need any tips on proper usage of dragging weights, how to set up, definitely ask away. Just like Chris was talking a while ago, setting up how to drag in certain places, you know, with stumps and stuff. So if y'all have any questions, definitely ask.
Reel is fishing. I'm going to find the perfect reel for those gar. It's going to cost me probably a fortune in reels to find it, but I will not settle for I think if I had the Gen 1 Dakotas, I'd be happy if I had a bigger line capacity, but like a 7,000 series, I think would be perfect. You know, if you had 300 yards of 100-pound braid, you'd be good. I think about 25 pounds of drag is enough, because you can damn near lock it down. But when you get one close at 25 pounds, they will strip drag. You know, it'll strip. But when you're setting a hook, it's damn near locked down. It doesn't pull at all. A 25-pound drag locked down doesn't pull when you set a hook. But when you get a 175-pound fish next to the boat, it can strip that drag. So it's good enough to set a hook, but light enough to, you know, it's like 25, I would say 25 to 30 pound drag would be perfect for, And that Abbott doesn't have all that. It's
Chris,
not. It's a
Dirty
high
says, I'll
quality
take.
reel, not perfect.
That's it. Dirty says, I'll take them reels you want to give away, Chris.
Well, my guide buddy that's invited me to come fish, he's sponsored by Penn, but he don't get those kind of reels. I'm just going to give it to him as a gift.
Yeah.
I figure as a guide, he can use the damn thing.
Wesley was asking Ancient Mariner. I have my inputs on Ancient Mariner. I'm pretty sure you do, Chris, from your facial expression. I can tell you I got a basket full of them that's junk right now.
Yeah. They won't hold up on my boat.
Not putting another company down by no means. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, man, for what we do, it don't hold up on my end.
Mine either. They make good paperweights from.
How do you connect the weight snap to the sinker slide, Chris?
I use a sinker slide with a snap. I use a sinker slides I use are the Dr. Fish Blue sinker snaps. I don't have any sitting here, but it's the lightest weight sinker snap that I can get. Those have worked. I've used all sinker snaps. Those are the ones
I've got a big one here. I know this isn't one that I would.
That's what they call using for braid. That's how you lose all your crap.
I was about to say, I don't use these on mine personally because I believe in smaller, the better, like Chris is talking about. But
I've noticed, for one, that sinker snap, the plastic there is way too strong. And if you get hung up, that won't break. The second thing is the snap has way too much of a snag on it. And how do I know? I've brought whole stumps to the boat with mono balls and braid balls attached to them, and it was hung on that thing. That right there. And so if you're getting hung up on that little piece right there, which, a lot of sinker snaps are going to do that. You need that plastic part to be able to break free. That little part right there, you need that thing to break, actually, in order to get your crap back. Otherwise, your line's breaking. And that thing right there is too strong. You'll break it'll take your whole rig. You'll come back with just line. And that's why I use the other one. And
yeah, I definitely use. I'm like you, Chris.
Preference. That's my personal preference. I like a lighter weight sinker slide. One that
if you see the little clip right here, that size right there, guys.
Yeah, that's going to get you. That'll hold anything besides when you really are hung on something and you have to rip and you're like, I'm almost going to have to break off. Well, that typically, if you got good line, that'll break before your line. So,
yeah, that's the size that I'll use on mine, guys. And all of our 2 ounce and 3 ounce come with these already on them. So that's what you're getting.
My sinker slide has one that's about like that, but it's a little bit bigger. I just take that off and put it on my sinker slide.
Yeah,
so that's good. Like for guys that are running, a lot of guys run a 3-way rig because they want to go from dragging to anchoring. When I'm dragging most of the time. So I like a sinker slide. Personal preference. I feel like days where there's a very light bite and maybe they're line shy or rig shy, that if they feel anything, they drop it really quickly. I like to have a sinker slide.
That's right. I do not recommend the
So
Cooper
Beth
River.
says, but them spin casts cast them bowling balls baits though. Well, Beth, here's what I figure. You need at least one spin reel to cast that bowling ball halfway across the river. I would agree. But the ones that you don't have to send long, that you just can send just a decent cast where you're not just freaking giving it everything you got. I'm still gonna. I've already made up my mind. I'm staying with bait casters. I'm gonna keep my 2 spinning reels for when I gotta send something super long. But I just feel like I can't get a great hook set with a spinning reel like I can a bait caster. Just can't do it, man. I like to, when I'm reeling that thing up, I can keep my thumb on the line. I can feel that fish chewing on it. And when this is for gar fishing, I can feel that fish chewing on it. And when I feel that pressure, I can freaking get him. You can't do all that with a giant spinning reel. You can't keep your finger on the line and all that. So you can't feel that sensitivity, man.
Pierce got a good question for you, man. James just said, I just received my first dragging weights. I went with the 3-ounce Carolina Lake weights. When will I need to increase or decrease the weight size? Man, that's an excellent question, brother.
I don't know if you're fishing lake or river. Makes all the difference. So in a lake, I never go over 3. 3 ounces is when I'm in big wind, big waves, deep water. I'm trying to pin my bait to the bottom. Other than that, I'm using 2 ounce. You'll notice every time you go up an ounce in weight, you will dramatically lose more rigs. So you want to use the lightest weight possible that will pin your bait to the bottom. And if you're in current, use whatever weight is going to keep you where you need it to be. And if you go too heavy, you're going to lose more rigs. If you go too light, you can't keep it pinned down. It's not a natural presentation.
Chris, I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of people gets mixed up on. I see a lot of people in different areas, man. Say Santee, when we go down there, I've seen people, man, with 4 ounce. I'm gonna tell you straight up, unless it's a rough day, I am dragging nothing but a 2 ounce on Santee Cooper. That's pretty much it.
That's
95% of the time.
50 foot of water, I might switch to a 3. If I'm in bigger winds and waves, because if you're in big winds and waves, your boards are blowing because they're not, and when they blow, they're dragging that weight because the wind's catching the board and it's dragging that weight off. But if you got a weight like a 3 ounce on a heavy wind day, it's pulling back. Where am I here? It's pulling back on that board so that it can pull right. So it's pulling right. But when there's wind, it's like it's not pulling right because there's not enough backward tension on that thing. But I know it sounds weird because normally on a light wind day, if you put a 3 ounce, they don't pull half as good as a 2 ounce. But on a big wind day, the heavier weight actually will pull better because it's keeping that board cutting right in the water. Whereas if there's wind, it's blowing like this and it's all blowing in. So it varies. It just depends. On a big wind day, I'm switching. If I know I'm going to be in a rocky area, and even if I'm deep, I'm going light, and I'm not putting I'm not long lining. If I'm in rocks, I'm barely even touching the bottom. Barely even touching the bottom. If I am touching the bottom, my line's going to be like that coming through. It's barely bouncing.
And I think that's where, I get messages all the time. Man, I fish so-and-so. This is, my water. And get questions all the time. What would you recommend, 2s or 3s? Well, that's our first thing. I always find out, what style of water are you fishing? Where are you at? You need the proper stuff for the proper situations. And I always tell everybody, have you some 2 ounces, have you some 3 ounces. if you're, fishing like Santee Cooper, know the certain times to put that 3 ounce on, and know the majority of the time you're gonna fish that 2 ounce because of what you just said, Chris. The board working properly, not weighing that bottom, not weighing your bait down on the bottom too much, and on days that you don't need that 3 ounce.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of people
I'm using a 2 ounce.
Yeah.
But I start getting up into 20-mile-an-hour wind plus, and I know it's going to be like that for the day. I'm putting the 3 ounce on before I even start. Don't typically wait to see my boards pulling wrong. I already know we're in a big wind day. The waves are going to mess up my boards. You need that backward tension to keep that board pulling right. If you don't have that backward tension, the waves are moving it all around. Got that backward tension, it's pulling that board backwards so that that blade can cut through the water like it's supposed to.
That's it, man. That's a good question. Appreciate you asking for sure. And I hope that helps you out also, man.
Tom says the higher ratio you have, the less cranking power you get, like your truck differential. Not true. Okay, not true at all, because I'll put my Shimano Takota high gear ratio up against every single low gear ratio reel on the planet. I will outcrank you every time. I will rip your shit out of the water, dude. I guarantee you. It won't even be close. Put your little 4-to-1 gear ratio reel and try to rip these giant planer boards and pull a giant bait back to my boat, and then put my Shimano Takotas on and watch how freaking easy it is. It's freaking like butter, just ripping those things through there. It's different cranking power. It all has to do with how that thing's geared in there. Not all reels are created equal. I guarantee you. I got a lot of 6-to-1 gear ratio reels. My Shimano Takota will outcrank my Penn $350 reel every time. It ain't even close. It'll outcrank that brand new Komodo that I got. What's the brand on that, Jamie? They're all 6-to-1. My Shimano Takota rips those. It ain't even close. The cranking power is just out of this world compared to those three. All high gear ratio. Okay. Now go try to reel those things in with all my low gear ratio, and you're going to be worn out, and the drag's spinning because there's no cranking power. It's light year. They're light years away. Light years difference. It's not even close. I mean, so there are major differences in reels. It's not all about gear ratio. Cranking power is more about the way everything's geared up inside of it. It's the mechanics in there. That Shimano Takota will outcrank all those by a long shot.
Wesley was asking Chris, how about super high current 3.5? Well, I can tell you, it sounds to me like you're fishing a river that has a lot of current in it. Well, 3.5 miles an hour current, I'm putting some decent sized lead on that bad boy. I'm using more like a
wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm using more in between a 6 to a 10 ounce. Probably more of a 6 to an 8 ounce on that style of current. So basically, like we have on the site, these are the river weights right here. This is a 5 ounce, and we got all the way up to a 10 ounce. I use these on the river all the time. That has good current.
I should have got some 10 ounce because we were in high flow and the 5s wouldn't hold.
I tell you, man, those 10s and those 8s, they are no joke. They will
welcome in, bro. Joseph Jordan says his Plump Classic CLX are good reels. Don't know what a Plump Classic is, but I imagine your thumb's got in the way there, buddy. Okuma Classic CLXs. Okay, so for when you're here's where the cranking power comes into play. When you got a 2-pound bait on and you got a giant planer board on and you need to reel up 10 of them quickly to move, you're going to see which one has the cranking power. I'm talking just raw cranking power. Just grab the thing and reel everything in. Okay, you're going to see I got 5 different reels, all ranging from $350 down to, I don't know, my cheapest reel is probably $200. There's a major difference in all of them. There's a major difference. Even though 3 of them have the same gear ratio, all 3 of those with the same gear completely different cranking power. It's just I don't know, man. I'm a gear hound, and I like to have, especially for reels. I'm very specific on what I like to use, and I try a lot of new things, thinking that, oh, maybe this will be good, maybe this will be better. Someone told me this is great. I get it. It's not so great. It's not. There's a lot of things that aren't checked off for me.
Yeah.
It might be fine for a regular, but for what I do, Shimano Takotas are going to be, I still haven't found one better. So as far as pulling giant planer boards, massive baits, long lines.
Chris,
Ryan, I haven't used an offshore angler reel. I couldn't tell you, man.
Yeah,
I've used all the major catfishing reels, the pins, the Okumas, all the Shimanos, all the Abus, all the Pissy Funds. Jamie says, I'm out of here. I like the pins. They're not for what I'm doing. That they're not a Shimano Takota. I guarantee you, they're good reels. But
yeah, well, that's the big 10s for like if you're on the James River, for sure. For that style current.
I need to get some of those when this Trinity's ripping on these gator gar. I noticed a lot of them were out in the current. And I'm like, now I don't know if they were out there feeding, but I noticed a lot of them in that current moving.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if I could catch them out there. I don't know.
Well, I tell you, we get asked all the time. People think with the 10s. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab one. Give me 1 second right here.
Paula says, are you guys going to be in East Tennessee this weekend? I am not. I am going to be, well, we had a big storm hit last night. Trinity River is coming up. I don't know that I can garfish this weekend.
No, we won't be there. No. We've had something come up. We will not be in Tennessee this weekend.
Tom says snap to snap. I don't go snap to snap. I remove one of the snaps.
But yeah, a lot of people
go snap to swivel. Just because I've lost enough crap on that little snap where it hooks. I don't want 2 of them. Double the freaking places it can snag.
A lot of people think that.
Yes, sir. What's up, Santa? Welcome in, bro.
That the 10-ounce weights are real long. And guys, I'm gonna show you the 5 so you'll know. This is a 10. and you see the difference right there. That's all the difference that you have from a 10 to a 5.
Yeah.
Right there. So they are not
Kelly
they
Boy
are
says,
not a
what
mile
about
longer.
instead of using a sinker slide of any kind, just use a 3-way swivel and put your weight at the end of it on a lighter line. For drag, you're talking about having a little break zone. I've tried it that way, using a 3-way swivel with a little piece of, you're going to get hung up a lot more. All that crap's going to come back tangled more. If you got that thing, even though it's on a 3-way swivel, you will come back tangled more often.
I've seen a lot of people trying that, Chris, and I got a good friend of mine that was trying it, and he said, man, he lost a lot of stuff trying to make that breakaway point,
you don't need it.
Yeah, you don't.
The breakaway point for me is that sinker slide, and I wish I had one, but my sinker slide, where the plastic piece is, it's the ring on mine that's will break free.
I believe all mine's on the tackle box.
I've been running those ones I use now for probably about 7 years, and before that, I tried every one. And Walt McCorkle says rig wrap easy sinker slides. I was sent a bunch of rig wrap stuff at one point to test. It did not work good for me, and their sinker slides are the snap on there is way too strong. It's when you get hung up, what's going to break? It's going to be your main line. You lose your whole rig. So, I mean, I get the easy part of removing it, but I don't typically when it's winter or like when I'm in trophy catfish season, I'm not needing to take my weights off. So I didn't like those personally. Well, I mean, for guys that want to remove their weights while they're dry, once they leave the lake, but that's not me. I've learned how to, you take your line, you put it, you feed the hook through the hook keeper, and then you take the line with where the sinker slide is and the drift weight, and you wrap it around your rod 2 times and hook it on an eye. You won't have any problems tangling all your stuff. It'll hold that way. That's how I stow mine when I leave the lake. Brian Henry says, waving a hand out to Flathead Doty from a Texas bro. Wesley Grubb says, and falling in the river. I'm so far behind, I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I'm trying to catch up myself, Chris. Out of all the,
I just received my first dragging weights. Okay, you already hit that one.
Yep. Out of all the bodies of water in America, which one do y'all think produces the most trophy fish on a year-to-year basis, lake or river?
What was the question?
Out of all the bodies of water in the U.S., which one do you feel that produces the most trophy catfish year after year?
Mississippi River, hands down.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be the Mississippi. Then probably second to that would probably be Lake Wheeler. For the biggest fish, it's going to be Kerr Lake. But I don't know for numbers of big fish, it doesn't produce the numbers of them. But Wheeler
I can tell you,
produces out of lakes probably produces the most 100-pound class fish.
Yeah. Yep.
And then just the area around there, Tennessee River, there's a lot of giants that come out of that area.
And I'll tell you that the James River has been really producing some nice ones lately.
James River is probably the best for sub 100-pound monsters. One of the best. Not too many over hundreds come out of there, but
and Santee Cooper does a lot of real nice catfish, but I'm like you, Chris, on what you said about lakes, and of course, the James River, man, has been really cranking it up last couple of years.
now if you're talking about just numbers of trophy fish, there's really only one place in the country that's probably head and shoulders over the rest, and that's the South Mississippi down by Louisiana. There are so many big ass fish down there. It's crazy, dude. It's insane. I never seen daily catches like I've seen out of there.
And I'll tell you here, especially on the East Coast here, close to the ocean, guys, I have caught some tremendous sized nice catfish in that saltwater line. So if you're able to fish a area like that, I highly suggest you fishing it because it produces some nice sized cats also.
Somebody's talking about easy clips. So easy clips. I used easy clips for a long time and they work good. But the issue with an easy clip is they will come unclipped from time to time. So an easy clip for a weight, I will use an easy clip for a weight. I will not use an easy clip to clip my leaders on.
Yeah.
Because you will lose your best fish. If you're going to lose the best fish and you're using an easy clip, that's when you will lose it. I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way it is. But I will say this. I did switch to what's called a scissor clip. It's a Roscoe scissor clip, and you will not lose a leader with one of those. They cost a little more. I learned about them through from the hardcore tournament guys. Alex Nagy's the one that told me about them. It's a Roscoe scissor clip. It looks like a loop, and when you pinch it to open it up, and that's how you feed your light in. And when you let it go, it's closed again, so you cannot lose. But a scissor clip, I mean, if you're using them for your weights, who cares if a weight comes unclipped occasionally? But if it's for your, like a lot of, like for instance, I was using them because I would switch out a leader. If the leader was getting banged up, I could switch it out, put a new pre-tied leader on, and it would take me literally 10 seconds to put a new one on. That was the beauty of using those that way. But I use 100-pound leaders now, so it's not like my leaders are wearing out in the middle of a trip.
Would you drag lake dams this time of year for flatheads with live brim?
I used to, when I flathead fished, I used to fish the bottom of the dam a lot. Right there, in about 15 feet of water, 10 to 15 feet of water, right at the bottom of those rocks. Now, I don't know that I would fish on the rocks, but you could suspend them just right above the rocks. But I would fish at the bottom of the rocks, just find the right depth. For me, it was like 8 to 15 feet seemed to be the magic depth for flatheads when I did it. But I don't do it too much anymore since we had my son. I keep saying, we're going to get back into it now that he's big enough to stay up all night. But last few times we tried it, he was asleep by 10:30. Oh, man.
That was from Leland.
Leland. Tom. That's it. That Komodo is an Okuma. And it's a bulletproof reel. It's a top quality reel. It's probably one of the better low profile reels on the market. Just doesn't have the cranking power as my Takotas. They cast better, but cranking power is not there for reeling in all them planer boards. Wesley Grubb says he's currently a guide in Tennessee. Well,
and Wesley,
right in here because we got a lot of guides in here, and I got a lot of buddies that are guides. Fished with a couple of legends last weekend, a couple of my guide buddies. They were both in here tonight. I think Vess is still here. A lot of my fishing buddies are guides, long-time fishing guides. I get along good with guides. Well, not all guides, huh, Vess? Some of these guides, when I pull up to the lake, they're doing this. I'm like, ooh, can you feel the tension in the air? They don't like seeing me.
That's it.
Fuck them. Oh, man.
Brian says, Jamie, I really like the new shirt designs on those Carolina lake weights. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, we all three of these are all new shirts. We got some other new ones.
Yeah, they look dang good, man.
We appreciate it.
Good. All right, I'm moving on down. I got way behind, like always.
Oh man, and guys, also I'm gonna tell you while we were on the subject, if you ever have any questions for sure about knowing the size weights that you might be needing, my cell phone number is out there. Feel free to call me day or night, and I'll love to help you with anything like that for sure. So if you're fishing rivers and you got some real gnarly current or some decent current, I'll go over each and every size with you and help you any way I can for sure. So feel free to shoot us a message or anything. Because we do not want you.
Good guides, Wesley said. Yes, that's true. All my guides that are my buddies are good guides. They're not only good guides, but they're good guys. So, Big Gar came on Jamie's rig. That's true. Got 2 7-footers on that rig.
That's why we've been getting a lot of calls. So we working on some more of those here shortly too. I said, yep, Chris has put out another video or another picture. Everybody's calling me wanting some gar rigs.
Oh man. Well, I think the river's going to be flooded this weekend. Can't fish. Next weekend's Father's Day. Maybe get back out there the weekend after that. Maybe. I'll tell you, man, I probably had about as good as a time as a dude can have fishing with Vess and Trent. Maybe I can convince them to let me on their boat again. I'll bring the luck. I'll bring the luck machine, Jackson. What do you guys think about attaching hooks to the leader by a snap rather than a snell knot?
I was just reading that.
The same sort. I will not. No, don't do it. Don't do it. So I've done it. I used to have some rigs that were pre-tied. I won't say the name of the company, but they were one of my very first sponsors about 15 years ago. And I tell you, it makes a difference having a snell knot. It makes a big difference. I ran their pre-tied rigs for a long time. They had a steel leader, rattling float. It was just a float, but it had beads and made it. It was a weird deal, but it rattled. But then it had that steel leader had an easy clip with the hook. And I lost fish with that clip because of the easy clip. I lost a lot of fish because the hookup ratio is not as good. The snell knot gives it a trigger effect, and it'll help set the hook properly. I believe a snell knot's crucial for trophy catfishing with a circle hook. You need a snell knot with a circle hook for it to work right.
Everything we do here is a snell for sure. And Tom's right. the more pieces you have to something, the more things that can go wrong.
Yeah,
And
so a lot of trophy catfishing. Now, when I say trophy, to be a guy who is able to go out and catch the biggest fish in the fishery consistently, because those are the ones that give you the most problems. If you're going to have a problem with your line, it's going to show up when you're catching the biggest fish in the fishery. If you're going to have a problem with your leader, that's when it's going to show up. If something's not going to get, if a hook set's not perfect or not a really good hook set, that's when it's going to show up. If the hook doesn't have a large enough gap, when you catch the biggest fish in that fish that you've caught in that fishery, that's when that problem's going to show up. And all of those things of being able to eliminate all of those things is what's going to help you when you're around those supersized fish in each of those fisheries. And, you know, for a lot of guys maybe that don't catch giants a lot, it's not that big of a deal. But let's say you do hook into that fish for just a regular dude, a fish of a lifetime. Wouldn't it be nice if you got to land the damn thing instead of just see it at the side of the boat and then it got away? I mean, hell, I want to land the damn thing. So being able to eliminate all those things, like Tom said, is going to help you land way more fish. And once you start catching them consistently, you start to realize, man, I got to do, it's all the little things that are helping me catch these things. So there are a lot of pieces to my rigs, but I am very methodical when I'm doing the whole thing, when I'm tying my knots. You know, the way that I like that sinker slide, when I'm checking the leader after every big fish, you know, when I'm checking that line where they're twisting, rolling down into the rocks, where I check that line after every good fish I catch, because you'll catch the 40, you might catch the 50, but when you hook into that 80, that's when that line's going to break. That's when that nick in the leader's going to give out. You know, that's when the gap in that hook that's not quite wide enough is not going to bury behind the tooth patch. So yes, you are spot on, Tom.
And I tell everybody, you know, make like Chris is saying, man, after you catch a good 30, 40 pounder, just bring that thing up, take a second, just run, make it a habit. I do it all the time.
Hook point, you know, I'm gonna check the hook point. I'm gonna make sure that
a lot of people misses that about the hook point, man. If that hook point is not perfect,
check the hook point. I'll also check the offset, because sometimes when you catch a giant, they can bend the hook. Now it might only be slightly, but it's just a giant fish just is different than all the rest. And when you got a problem, it's going to show up on that fish, and that's when you'll lose it.
And that's for sure. You know, a lot of people, you know, right here on that very tip, sometimes that's pointed downwards a little bit. So pay close attention to that stuff, man. You really want a jam up, just poking you like that. So I keep a sharpener on my boat.
I do too.
Just for a situation, I might want to touch that hook up a little bit. So that's another just thing.
About 3 runs on each side, and
that's it.
Sharp as a needle. Ted, off the hook. Welcome in, bro.
Let's see here. Trying to see if I missed anybody, Chris.
So I do occasionally put out a video on how I tie my rigs, and never fails. Somebody says too complicated, too much.
Well,
too much for you.
That Chris, you put
for me. I like the biggest. I mean, it works good for me. I'll tell you that.
You pay close attention to it, man, and you catch big fish all the time, and that's the reason why. Is
I'm
because
not doing all this stuff because I watched some TikTok video told me to do all this. I'm doing it because over the last 30 years of doing this, I see the little things, and each year my rig changes, and this is the progression of my rig from my experience. And that's why I do everything that I do. It's because it works for me.
that's it.
I don't care if somebody else wants to use it. I do tell people, maybe it'll help them catch more fish as well. But you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just don't come fish next to me because you're going to be mad.
Hey, all we can do is put our insight out there to try to help, and that's all we can do, man. Man, I tell you, Chris, I've learned in the past too much at times is not enough.
You got that right, man. I always ask guys, it's the little things that make the biggest difference, Brian. And it might not be the one little thing, but it's the accumulation of all the little things that separates the men amongst the boys. And, you can catch fish doing things basic, but if you've got a system that's technical and each little thing, it's the accumulation of all those little things that you're doing helps you. In the end, it could be a monumental gap between if you were doing it just the basic way. So certain days it doesn't matter. Certain days it makes all the difference. I just get in the habit of doing it because I know the things that I'm doing helps me make a difference.
Notice I couldn't tell you the number of times I forget the slip bobber. I feel you. I feel you.
I get where I can tie these rigs in my sleep, my eyes closed, It's, Matthew Areola says, hello from Southeast New Mexico.
Hello, brother. Appreciate you coming in.
Buddy. My dad's family's from Fort Sumner. Love it out there, man. Tough fishing, but fun to go visit. Well, Jamie, got anything new coming up?
Well, coming out, like I said, give me a second here, Chris. I know a lot of people has been asking, and they asked me to do this on tonight's show. So I'm going to do this on tonight's show real fast. They wanted to see the new UV shirt under the black light. So I'm going to do that real fast for everybody. There they are, guys. So
yeah, those look good, man. Those are popping.
They do, man. And these are the brand. This one is the brand new. Let me get a little bit closer here. There we go. The UV style shirt. This is the brand new one, the latest and greatest. And there's the front. So there you go, guys. For all the ones that was asking. The new shirt that I have on right here is orange. You can go on the site and see it. It is not a UV style shirt, but it is a UV sun protector. A lot of people don't know that. Real good stuff, so go check them out.
I have to get some light colored UV shirts from you, man.
Yeah.
The Texas heat's brutal, man.
I tell you, I love these things. I wear them year round, man, because
of that. I have to wear this stuff. Man, start getting old. It's like, damn.
So that's right now. That's the latest new stuff. Oh, and this we just released this. You can get all of your decals on one sheet. This is a brand new one, never been released, but it is up on the site. So now you can get all your cool decals on one sheet right here, guys.
Get one of those and dress up my new cooler. I got a new Yeti for the boat.
So just wanted to share that out.
Tom says he can't wait to get slime all over that white and black shirt.
Yeah, Tom's got some new swag coming, man. I can't wait for you until he gets it. I know he's gonna love it.
I'm hoping me and Tommy can go gar fishing soon. The damn weather's not gonna permit this weekend. Next weekend's Father's Day.
That's
Gotta
it.
get out there. River should be up for a while because of all the rain we've had. Lakes are full.
But yeah, Mama Rebecca's working very hard, guys, on new logos, new stuff. So we're constantly got new stuff coming out.
Brian Henry says, Jamie, that is just absolutely awesome.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And like I said, guys, anytime that y'all have questions about what size drifting weights that you should be using, I will give you my best estimate or my best, knowledge of what I suggest. I don't want you to go out and buy some that's going to be too heavy for you. I don't want to sell you something that's going to be like that. I want to sell you the right ones for the right conditions. So, like I said, shoot us a message. We'll be more than happy, day or night, answer any questions and try to help you in any way we can.
Wesley Grubbs III says, I feel the making all of the tournament folks mad while on a guide trip with OVWN, while we are catching fish and having fun catching fish and not spending any money.
There you go. Brian, I do have them in a 3X right now. You might want to be quick because I am limited on 3X. They going fast.
Better get over there and get them ordered. They won't be there long.
Matter of fact, this one right here, the one right here with the skull on it is almost completely sold out. I think I've only got 4 of those left. That's it. This one has been the one I showed you right here is going fast, and this one is.
Got a slime skull one coming soon too.
Yeah. Next week we will unveil another one too.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait. Wesley says he already ordered his.
Nice. I don't know. She's packed. Man, she packed up so many packages today. We had a lot of stuff going out. I know the shirts were flying out. She was putting them in and got them out as fast as she could today. So a lot of them went out.
Wesley, I know all about making people mad about fishing. I don't know why. I don't get it. But some guys get mad at you when you're fishing. And I'm not doing anything to them. I'm just fishing, having fun. I'm just a fun fisherman. I fish with my friends. We hammer fish. I help people. And for whatever reason, there's always going to be a few guys that are mad at you. I got tournament guys, like I'll go fish the same day the tournament's going on. I'll smoke them, dude. And they're like, they're mad. They're mad at me. I'm like, dude, I'm not even in the tournament. Why are you mad at me? I'm just out here fun fishing. Or I'll have guides where I'll roll up, and the guides, when I pull up, like last weekend, they're shaking their heads. And one of my guide buddies knew the guy, and he went over there and talked to him, and he said, I can't believe you're here with that asshole. It like, what did I do? All I do is fish. I'm not out here taking your clients. I'm not. I'm just out here fishing it, and I release all my fish. I'm a helpful person. I'm friendly to everyone. Like, I guess people just want to find a reason to be mad at some people. So,
Chris, quick question before we head out. What are your thoughts on chain swivels?
I think they're great. Yeah, I think they're great, especially if you're in current. Uh, they can really help your bait from helicoptering. They're going to helicopter, but they won't be completely tangled and twisted up and like messed up. So
I can tell you,
it'll allow them to spin and not be a complete freaking chaos tangled mess.
We sell a ton of them. We sell a ton of those. A lot of people are using them.
I think they're great in current, and even if you're dragging, like a lot of guys drag chunks when you're dragging. So if you're a guy that drags chunks, they're good for that as well. It'll keep your stuff from doing this number in the water, and coming back. It'll slow that deal down, and then it won't mess up your line all twisted.
I can tell you, on as far as being a river fisherman, I wouldn't go to it unless I had them. I love them on the river with a lot of the current and stuff. I love them.
So Wesley says, what do they look like? There's two versions. One of them looks like basically like the chain on a dog tag, and another one looks like just the barrel from barrel swivels, but it's like 6 or 8 of them stacked, and it just allows your line to spin and twist it up.
If you want to see them, you can go to the Carolina.
Good for dragging live. For live baits, but really good for current. Guys that are in current really like them.
Yeah.
It'll keep your line from going crazy.
We have them on the website if you want to take a look at them.
If you're in current, you don't streamline your bait, or you got a little pocket, that pocket will catch, and it'll just be doing this in the current. It's not good.
But Wesley, if you want to see a picture of them, brother, we have a picture of them right there on the site where you can look at them. Haters will hate, that's for sure.
It is. Just got to keep on moving. What's crazy is that, like, I pull up, they're feeling bad. And I'm like, I told my buddy, it's like, well, I was like, I'm over here laughing because what the hell did I do? I'm the asshole. I mean, to me, I'm thinking, man, what an asshole. That's what I'm thinking about him.
They're thinking, Chris, I'm getting ready to see some monster fish when Chris shows me some pictures and videos. They already know what's up.
Oh, man. Well, I'm coming there to have fun, and part of that's catching giant fish, so. I don't know. I guess it makes them mad that just coming to their fishery.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not allowed to come fish this. I'm not allowed. I mean, what? That's weird to me. Make that make sense. I don't get that.
Oh man, that's how it rolls sometimes, brother. But hey, Chris, look at it this way.
I don't let it affect me. It's just like, if anything, I'm like when they came back to my two guide buddies went over there, and one of my guide buddies, man, he didn't talk to me either. And when they came back, I said, man, can you feel the tension in the air? Oh man, it's like fishing's supposed to be fun. What's making people mad about somebody coming to fish? It is what it is. It is.
That's right, brother.
I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I was like, if it makes you mad that I'm coming to fish here, then you're gonna be mad because this won't be the last time. And if it makes you mad that I help people, well, sorry, because I'm not stopping that either. My buddy's like, yeah, they're mad because you help people. and you're giving out these secrets that they think shouldn't be given out. I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to help my friends.
That's exactly right.
You call me and ask me for a location, I'm giving it to you. If that's where I caught them last week and how I caught them, I'm going to tell you. I'll give you the pins. Here's the thing, Tom. I'm friends with a gazillion guides. I give them business. It's a wise business decision to be friendly towards me, because I'm going to I have a lot of people that say, can you recommend a guide for this lake?
Yep.
For this fishery? For these alligator gar? Yeah, I sure can. Damn sure. I'll tell you who not to use, but I'll tell you who the best is as well. Because it's going to be, I will tell you this. Don't use this guy, but this guy and this guy and this guy, these are great guys. And not just good guides to catch fish. These are good guys to want to support. Yeah.
That's right. And like Wesley said, man, karma is real. Well, karma is 100%.
Yeah.
And what better way of karma is just
me. And I'm grateful that they helped me, and I'm going to pay forward what I learned to the next guy who's trying to catch, trying to get, basically where I'm at, trying to catch fish. I'm going to try to help them catch fish. And hopes that somebody behind them says, hey, this is how you do it. Make sure you return the fish to the fishery. And what's the problem? I'm returning all my fish. All my guys, like I'm helping Tommy. He's returning them to the fishery. What do I freaking care? I'm going to tell him right where I fished. What does it matter? They're all
Chris, I get told all the time about the show, man, y'all give out a lot of secrets. Y'all give out a lot of information. I mean, why don't y'all keep that to yourself? Well, we want to help people. That's why we're doing what we're doing, is we want to help people succeed and catch fish.
Good to see my buddies do good. And I know how painful trophy fishing can be. Now, fishing's pretty, doesn't take a whole lot to go catch fish. But to be able to go catch big fish consistently is not easy. And I know when you become a trophy angler, there's a lot of heartache that comes with that, trying to, because you're putting all your, you're really putting a lot of effort into it, but there's a lot of failure involved. If I can help my buddies do well, I feel like it's a feather in my cap. Yeah. I know that I'm saving them a lot of heartache, and I feel like, okay, I know how bad I felt for years when I didn't do well. If I can help my buddies, then I'm really doing something,
That's right. And Chris, like we talked about different products, we talked about all kinds of stuff. The information that we give out, we love it when we see people come back and say, hey, man, look at these fish.
I will look at this. Though, Jamie, you got to return the fish. To the fish.
Yeah.
What I don't like, what really has gotten me in the past, is when I realized I've helped somebody who's a big fish killer. That freaking that eats me up. Yeah. I'm like, man, when I see somebody I've helped and now they're off just killing fish, I'm like, killing big fish. I'm like, damn it, that was me. I'm the one that freaking created that monster.
And it's hard, man. It's something that's hard to tell who's going to be that style person. And like I said, the only thing you can do is educate. There's a lot of stuff out there, that
most of the guys that are with us I won't say most, damn near every one of the guys that are with us are going to return it to the fishery. Yes. Or else you wouldn't be here. But there is a few that come in and don't tell you that they do that, or they lie, because all my groups, it's big fish conservation. It's one of the group rules. You have to agree to the group rule to be in the group. But occasionally they agree to the group rule, but then I see that they actually got fish hanging in the garage, 40-pounders hanging in the garage. I'm like, hey, you agreed to the group rule. Like, you said you weren't a big fish killer. Like, what's this hanging in your garage? So
Yeah,
it's not often, but it happens.
that's it.
All right. I got behind again. Let me run through. Paul Dylan Anderson says, I help everyone, want to see others do good, especially where I live. That's the best way to be. That's the best way to be. Tub and Tackle says, watching.
Appreciate you, brother. Welcome in, buddy.
Paul says, from bait to tackle to gear to spots where I've been catching my friends, I try to help as much as possible. That's the best way to be. Pay it
And
forward.
guys, that's it. Guys, we appreciate all the kind words also, man, for everybody. We really do. I've heard a lot of stuff, met a lot of people. Chris, it was overwhelming at CatCon. I just can't tell y'all guys how much we appreciate y'all supporting us.
Yeah, I've made a lot of great friends. It's constant too. It's new, constant source of new guys too. Wanting to, wanting information, and I'm happy to give it. So, any of you guys ever need anything from me, you know where to reach me. I'm easy to get a hold of. I will always make time for my friends. You won't hear me now. I'm a busy guy, but I will make time for my friends because I think it's important. And a wise man once told me, if somebody tells you I don't have time, what they're really telling you is you're not important enough. And so to me, my friends are important to me. I make sure that I make time in my busy schedule. If somebody needs something, then I'm going to try to make it happen. If I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody that will.
That's it. That's it.
Tubb says, one big family with a bunch of fire burning.
That's right, brother. That's right.
Well, Paul, I will tell you this. There is something to social media destroying trophy fishing. Our best fisheries here in Texas, I talked about this today with a guy. I said, all our fisheries are closed systems, and social media has helped catfishing grow as a sport, but it's also damaged it greatly because basically what hurt it here in Texas is the guy. Now, I got a lot of guide buddies, but I'm also candid. And I will say this, the guides were posting their catches every day on our best fisheries. And the big fish killers watching their posts know when and basically where these fish are being caught. And they go in there with their jugs and their trot lines and they clean them out. And certain times of the year, you can really put a hurting on these fisheries. So some of our lakes, quite a few of our lakes have been freaking destroyed by these big fish killers. And a lot of these guys are from out of state that came in and did it. So they don't care about the fishery. They just care about pulling them out of there. And doesn't matter if there's laws or anything. Now, as far as it helping, it's helped the industry side of it with making money and all that. But I think the biggest thing with trophy catfishing that's really hurting it is there's so many new guys. And we talked about it early on in the show. There's about 10,000 guys that are really hardcore into trophy catfishing. And they're really stewards of the environment. They're big fish conservation friendly. But once you leave that 10,000 guys, that dramatically falls off. The conservation side crashes, and those guys keep them. They eat them all. They keep them all. You can go on any of these local lake pages and get away from the guys that you see on every day, and you get to these local guys, and they're all keeping them. So you think, oh no, everybody's pro big fish, and we're all starting to do this right. Yeah, our group of 10,000 is doing it right, but the other group of 1 million, the vast majority of them are still killing fish. And they're looking on social media at all these hardcore guys like us, where we're catching them, how we're catching them. They're learning from us, and then they're killing what we love. So I don't know how we convert. We step outside of our 10,000 strong and start flipping that other million. But I believe if we can figure out how to get those guys, kind of like bass fishing did, if you can get, instead of the minority hardcore being pro big fish conservation, stepping out and getting that other million and a half people that are outside of our core group, if you can step outside and get them to start thinking like we all think, there'll be big fish for all of us. And I mean, I think the fisheries could actually get better, but it's just, social media is a weird thing. It's good and it's very bad.
It can be a two-edged sword.
Bad for, it's really bad. It's just not good for humankind, really, I think.
Yeah, it can be a double-edged sword, that's for sure sometimes. Man. And a lot of it is a lot of fake news stuff out there, man. You got to cipher what's good and what's bad, and you never know anymore, hardly.
Yeah, it's interesting times we live in, and who knows which way it's going to go. But I think enough guys really like it and are trying. It's just, catfish, people don't carry themselves in a real professional manner. So it's hard to really appeal to the outside masses, because it's just, I don't know. It's I don't really know the word that I'm really looking for, but it's just good old boys catching fish, and guys think of catfish as an eating type fish. That's even the big ones. Guys from the outside look at them as an eating fish. So just go on. Here's the deal. Here's one thing that I think could help, because there's a lot of the biggest catfish groups on Facebook, right, are adminned by guys that are hardcore catfishermen, right? Like they admin the biggest catfish groups on Facebook, but they allow the big fish killers to do, you see how they act.
Mm-hmm.
The way they act, they do it to piss people off. They thrive on it. And what I don't understand is, why would these guys that are so pro trophy catfishing, why would they even allow that in that Catfish America type group, or catfish whatever tips and tactics, or whatever that I don't know. I left those groups a long time ago because I don't like big fish killers. But I think there's a long way to go, and we're trying to move towards the right direction. But what we're seeing as the 10,000 strong is a small percentage of really the grand scheme of catfishing.
Yeah,
we only see our 10,000, and there's millions of guys doing it. So,
Chris, I hate to say it this way, man, and nothing against our older generation, nothing, but the older days when my grandfather and all, they only, like you said, knew catfish as a lot of the bottom feeders, trash fish, get them all out of here. They ruining all of our waterways and just killing off all of our, that mindset has been hard to change to the new generations and a lot of people.
Hard to change.
It is. And I seen a lot of that when I was growing up with some of the older generation of killing and catching and keeping everything there was. And I'm hoping
that's still pretty typical for a lot of places. It is here in Texas.
Yeah,
we got the most catfishermen of any state, and there's way more big fish killers than there are our little group of.
Yeah.
Now we're pretty solid, like carterized group. Like we all stick together, but there's a huge amount that are on the outside that don't pay attention to any of this stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
Except for where we're catching them. you'll see them come in and say, what lake you get, they'll come in and ask you what lake that was, or, you can
We
see them on all these little, like all these lake pages. You go on any of these Facebook lake pages where it's the page for that lake, catfishing lake such and such. You're going to go on that page and see the majority of them are big fish killers.
yep.
There are
I know
more.
we've argued with them in the past on the shows. Some people coming in and stuff like that,
I
and
just learned to separate. Guys like, oh, you can't. I've learned I don't have to put up with them.
yeah,
I've learned that for me, it's easier for me to try to educate a young person because they get it instantly than for me to try to convince some old guy who's not going to be convinced.
I can't tell you how many times I've argued with some of these people at the boat landings or at the local bait shop and stuff like that over this same situation. And you're right. It's easier to take a youngster, talk to them, and let them understand and get it through to them more than you can someone like that. It really is.
Paul says, are your lakes and rivers labeled big catfish contain chemicals and not safe to eat? Yes, there are a few that are labeled that they designate you have to return the fish. They're no consumption lake because they have PCBs from the 70s from like they would have a factory on the lake that has it was like a cooling lake that they would cool these factories, and then they would have the factory be dumping the chemicals out into the lake, and PCBs don't break down very easily. So they're in the fish and you can't eat them. If you eat them, you're going to have problems. And especially if you're a woman nursing or pregnant or a small child, developing child. For me or Jamie as old farts, it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. But if you're a little growing kid, it's really gives you developmental problems. And if you're pregnant or nursing, it's bad for the fetus.
Brian, that'll be right out to you first thing in the morning, brother. Appreciate you.
Awesome, Brian. Go catch you a monster. Get some luck. Well, what else?
Brother, that's it for me, man. I'm ready for next week.
He's got 24 brim, 7 flatheads, 5 blues left in High Rock Lake. Tub done caught them all.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. He loves it. But yeah, man, I tell you, I just want to say appreciate everybody coming in tonight, man, and joining us. Always having a good time. That's what it's about, guys. Y'all are definitely family to us for sure.
Tub, I'm gonna make a round up there sometime. I don't know. I say soon, but I'm gonna make a trip up there. I'm gonna fish with you and Cats on the Rock. I'm gonna make a circle around. I'm gonna go fish with Matt, and then I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna probably finish down with Jamie. So I think I might try to bring maybe Vest with me when we do it.
Heck yeah, man. That'd be a lot of fun, brother.
I got a bunch of guys that want me to come fish. I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to take a month off to come do all that. But maybe do a summer trip with my boy. It's like, damn, these sports. It's never ending.
I think we're going to have James. He might come back down this year and fish with us this year also. I know last year we had a good time, man.
Appreciate you coming in, Matt. I had fun, man. I don't know if anybody learned anything tonight, but we had fun. So some shows we laugh and learn. Some shows we laugh, some shows we learn. And some shows we piss people off.
Oh, Hey, we're used to that. We hate that happens, but hey, it is what it is.
All right. Well, I'm going to start planning our 100th episode soon. We're going to get a bunch of guys. We'll probably have a group of guys come on just to have fun, do a bunch of giveaways. Tub, get you on here, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Get you do some type of machine work for maybe we can get a giveaway from Tub and Tackle's freaking Master Wizardry Machine Shop.
I've got to get with Tub. I've always wanted to get with him to get me a big thing set up back here in the background for a catfish with Carolina lake weights or something. So I've got to get with him to definitely build us something to take to the shows, to put on a stand and everything.
I made one for my son for his first junior state record, and then he broke it the next year. So I told him, I'm going to need another one because he broke that damn record again. Shit. All right, guys. Appreciate all y'all coming in. Tight lines. God bless. Azul out.
Later, y'all.